Well, trouble in my way. Oh, I've got to cry sometime. My Lord, trouble's in my way. Oh, I've got to cry sometime. You know, I lay awake at night, but that's all right. I know that Jesus, my Lord, he'll fix it after a while. Trouble in my way. Oh, I've got to pray sometime. My Lord, trouble's in my way. Oh, I've got to pray sometime. You know, I lay awake at night, but that's all right. I know it's all right. I know that Jesus, my Lord, he'll fix it after a while. Oh, we're singing after a while. Church, this will all be over. We're singing after a while. Oh, you know the sun will shine. A church and all of our troubles, you know they will be over, because I know that Jesus, my Lord, he'll fix it after a while. Church, the troubles are in my way now. Oh, I've got to cry sometime. My Lord, trouble's in my way. Oh, I've got to cry sometime. You know, I lay awake at night. Oh, but that's all right, because I know that Jesus, oh, do you believe that Jesus, oh, do you know we will fix it? Oh, he'll fix it after a while, after a while.
If we'll go back to do a quick review, I want to talk about 3 sources of stress, and now I want to just kind of outline the 7 types. So if he can pull up the PowerPoint and get us to the 7 types of stress. Stress from our situations, stress in our bodies, stress from our mind. So there are 7 kinds of stress. First stress is time stress. You know, trying to meet deadlines. You know, you have projects, you have situations that you're responsible for, and it's more days, you know, more things to do than you have days on the calendar, and hours on the clock. So all of us understand time stress. When we talk about stress, we are talking about time management. In America, sages and time management experts have reminded us for years that we really can never save time. We can only spend it. You could not choose between saving and spending time. The only choice you have is how you use your time. So fatigue and overwork, overextending yourself, not saying no. I'm gonna look on this side and I ain't gonna look at no. Not saying no. You know. And when you work for the church, they think that your emergency, their emergency ought to be yours. Now, they got in this mess all last week, but they want you to fix it in the next 15 minutes. So you're supposed to drop everything you're doing to take care of their emergency like you ain't got none of your own. And so we have to be able to help each other. There's only so much any one person can do in any given time or situation. And so your feelings may get hurt. But no minister, no church leader can be on call 24/7. That's why the church needs elders. You're going to hear me talk a lot about that over the next few months. I know my time is kind of winding down, but we're gonna start. I've already talked to the leaders, so I'm not jumping out here without the leadership's endorsement. One of the other things that I have to do before my work is done is we got to put in motion to recruit all of the men who are interested in being elders and deacons in this congregation so we can start that training process. Because you cannot expect the minister to do everything, even though he's being paid. That's why we have to have elders in the church. And you all take for granted all of these men who are your leaders, who work jobs, who make themselves available to get everything done that need to be done. They have families and a life as well. But if all of them were on payroll, they still can't be on call 24/7. They gotta sleep. They gotta rest. They gotta exercise. That's why we have to have the church broken down into shepherding groups where you get used to, you have a problem, there is one leader that you are responsible for. Because you all have your favorite leader. And you'll drive him crazy. So we have to move the church into dividing into shepherding groups, life groups, whatever we're going to call them. So when the church got 600 people, then there's 150 people in each group. And there are going to be two brothers responsible for taking care of all the needs of those 150 people. That's your shepherd. So we're going to start this under shepherd process so the brothers get used to doing that. Because when the church has 2,000 people, you can't call your favorite elder and he take care of you and the folk he's responsible for too. Like you don't have any other leaders. Okay? All of this is a part of stress management. We got to change the way we look at things. You can't do the church secretary the way you all do. She's one person and you think she's 5. You got something that need to be done that you could have asked her to do 2 weeks ago, but the deadline and all this business of doing stuff. She can't worship on Sunday morning like everybody else because you want things in the announcement you could have given her Wednesday. So we're going to have to start operating differently. If it ain't in by Friday, it don't get announced. You know, because it's time stress. So she strokes out because she's overworked and don't say no when she ought to. And then you'll visit her at the hospital and say, boy, she's the best office manager we ever had. And then we get the next one and do the same thing to her. See, this is what you get when you get me. You don't know what to expect. Yeah. But this is not just common for Newark. This is the way we operate. Because we don't understand stress management. We kill off the people who invest in us because we think we paying them. No, we're not paying anybody to be on call 24/7. It's our responsibility to see that the needs of the flock is taken care of, but we got to deputize other people to do stuff. There are certain things that people who are sitting on the pew can do, ought to do, that the secretary and the brothers don't need to be doing. We need to start deputizing some of you all. So when people come where I preach, Doc, this need to be done. I say, you just made yourself a head of a committee. You're not going to give me nothing else to do. We just created a new committee and you're the head of it. I don't need you to give me some new something. We ought to start this. Doc, you ought to do this. Thank you. That's a wonderful idea. Now, draw it up on paper so I can tell you when you can start. That's why I don't do stress. You know, this is the kind of conversation we have to have. We have to help each other. Because I declare I want to be a part of that 90s club. Yeah, I want to be around another 20 years. And in order to do that, you gotta get some rest, you gotta eat right, you gotta exercise, and you gotta learn how to say no. There's just some things I can't do. Now, let me say this, I'm gonna move on. Anybody who's been ever around me any length of time, you call me, talk to me, you're never gonna catch me on a bad day. I don't have bad days. Been that way for 45 years. I don't have no bad days. I'm gonna tell you why. I teach stress management. And the way you manage stress so that you don't have bad days, everything is about perspective. So however bad today is, I always think about how could it be worse? This is a bad day, but what would the worst day look like? When I make myself think about what could be worse than today, I'm happy for today because it's a good day. It's not that day. It's mind over matter. If you don't mind, it don't matter. Okay. You put life into two baskets. The culpables and the non-culpables. I spend my energy fixing what I can fix. The things I can't do, I find another person or God to do it. What stresses us out is that we're spending too much time dealing with things we can't fix. That means you got to be healthy enough to know your strengths and your weaknesses, to know what you can fix and what you can't fix. There are only so many hours in a day that you can be productive. And if you don't take care of you, you can't do anything for anybody else. I could stay here all day on time stress. Anticipatory stress, that's worry. It's the stress that comes from worrying about what could happen, what might happen. And most of the things we worry about never even happen. We are consumed by tomorrow, and tomorrow robs us of the joy and the productivity of today, because we're either living in yesterday or tomorrow. And Jesus told you, I give you strength only for one day. So here you are trying to live yesterday, tomorrow, in today. No wonder you stressed out. Time stress, we got that? Anticipatory stress is called what? Worry. Situational stress, we've already talked about. Those are the situations the people, the pressure, the projects that create us feeling overwhelmed when I have demands placed on me and I don't have the resources to take care of them. That's what situational stress looks like. Chemical stress has to do with the things we put in our body. Yes, we all have the things that we love. My grandmother used to say to me, I love ice cream. I think ice cream is my birthmark. I think my mother just ate too much ice cream when she was trying to, but I could eat ice cream every day. I used to eat it every day. In fact, it's so bad. Down in Texas, I lived in St. Louis. There's a brand of ice cream called Bluebell ice cream. Y'all get that up here? Y'all get Bluebell? Well, we couldn't get it in St. Louis. But I'm addicted, or I used to be addicted to that homemade vanilla and the cookies and cream. It was so bad. I have a friend that worked at Federal Express. He used to dry ice it and ship it to me to St. Louis. Now that's bad. That's bad. Okay, construct. You can't fix what you won't face. You can't change what you won't acknowledge. And you can't heal what you won't own. So you got to own your stuff. Some of us have, so I used to be addicted to Dr. Pepper and ice cream. 3 or 4 Dr. Peppers a day. Now, 3 or 4 Dr. Peppers a day. I don't know why you on and you drink 10 cups of coffee. And we don't even want to talk about the beer and the alcohol. You're in hiding. That's why you don't want nobody opening up your refrigerator. We come to visit you, but you want some water? Please, I'll go get it, because I don't want you to see what's in my refrigerator. This brother, keep it real, Doc. So we all have these chemical and nutritional stress, the things that we eat. And my grandmother always said, baby, too much of a good thing is too much. Even if it's good, you got to learn how to do all things in moderation. So now I am down to 1 Dr. Pepper a week. I get 1 Dr. Pepper on Monday and sip a little bit out of it all the week. Got to have a little taste of it, but I just get a sip. And that 1 Dr. Pepper can last me all week. See, I'm working on it. I'm owning my stuff. I'm just trying. This is what real is. I treat myself to Bluebell ice cream once a month. Used to do it every day. Now, those of you who have been watching me come through here since 1975, I've been pretty much the same size. Because I don't eat after 6 o'clock. I don't do no late night eating. I try to fast from dinner until the next morning. And I walk 5 miles every day. I've already walked my 5 miles before we got here this morning. Now that I'm in this last season of my life, I not only have to, because I would like to be able to sleep 8 hours at one time. I can't do it. It's just 5 or 6. But I make myself get those other 2 hours before the day is gone. Now that I'm an old man, I'll take a nap. Amen. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. Because you got to take care of yourself. All right, so we got time stress, anticipatory stress, situational stress, chemical and nutritional stress, and let's do this, job stress, encounter stress. I don't have to deal with those because our time is running out on us. And vicarious stress, that's the one. And then we're gonna quit and let you talk to me a little bit. Vicarious stress is carrying other people's burdens. You know, living in the valley of OPP. Carrying other people's problems. All right. Those are the 7 kinds of stress. Sister Kathleen is her daddy's child. You know, she gonna ask the hard questions. I tried to give the answer because I didn't know how much time we were gonna have. So let me go back. I want to start with her. What I did not say in the answer, because I've already given that, is you got to learn how to set boundaries. That's the word that we don't like in the Church of Christ. You got to set boundaries. You have to know what God knows about you. He knows your frame. He knows how much you can carry. You have to get in touch with yourself enough for you to know your limits. So when people start pushing you to your limits, you have to start learning these relaxation techniques. Sometimes you have to count to 10. Sometimes you have to take a deep breath because you can feel the stress coming on. And so when you start feeling the stress coming on, you have to take charge of your situation and stop yourself, or you'll be repenting for cussing somebody out. I don't know why y'all act. See, y'all too holy. Now you know folk get on your nerve and something need to be said and it ain't nice. And you don't even cuss. But the reason you want to cuss is that they don't think you serious until they get a good cussing out. But you can't cuss as a Christian. So what you have to do is learn how to set boundaries, as I say. It's being assertive. To be assertive means I stand up for my rights without violating yours. I got to hold you accountable. I don't like what you're doing to me. Yes, you're sick. Yes, you're aggravated. Yes, you're under pressure. But when you're sick, under pressure, the victimization of that hold that Satan has on us comes to the surface. It's called self-preservation. Because I'm in pain, because I'm in a crisis, because I've got this going on. I'll use my situation to manipulate you to give me what I want for relief. And when you don't know that's what people do when they are under crisis, they'll literally drive you crazy and they manipulating you. And it's not unchristian to say enough is enough. I can't deal with that. This is what I can do. I can't fix it the way you want to, but I've acknowledged that I care, I understand, and I want to help. But the help doesn't always come the way you want it. So if you know how to fix your situation, why don't you fix it? Why are you trying to get me to fix it? How are you going to tell me to fix it? If you know how to fix it, then you do that. Because you will allow people to put pressure on you to do things they don't want to do for themselves. That's that vicarious stress. Amen for vicarious. Say it, vicarious stress. Enough is enough. All right. Did that help you any, Sister Kathleen? All right. Who's next? He's going to get the other mic. Am I really that good? Now you know you got some questions. Yeah. All right. I see a hand here. I think this brother. All right. I think we may be running about 5 minutes or so overtime. We got about another 5 or 6 minutes. Yep. Yes, sir.
Okay. What about financial stress? Like you stated earlier.
That's situational stress.
Okay, just like you stated earlier about the children. We, as a people, do not show our kids the proper love. Like as far as like my parents' generation, I would say we always got like beat or punished for when we did things bad, but we did not receive the proper rewards when we did good things. And therefore, that's why we always say we're not going to let our children go through what we went through. And I'm thinking that the beatdowns are passed down through slavery. And we,
Okay,
as
all
a
right.
people.
You can stop right there. I got your point. Because I don't have a 5 minutes.
Okay.
So I'm not being disrespectful. Because what I want to do is to teach something that you just brought up. I am so glad you brought that up. And since I don't have but a moment, here is what parenting looks like. We don't understand discipline. See, discipline in the Bible. You remember when the Bible said, train up a child in the way that he should go. Okay? Discipline for us is kind of like this thing we're doing with mental illness and mental health. In our culture, discipline is synonymous with punishment. In the Bible, discipline is instruction, modeling, and correction. I don't have a right to correct you for something I haven't taught you. So, discipline is about, I teach you how to make the right decisions about things. It's child training. I teach you discipline so that you can have discipline when I'm not around. That's the goal of discipline. So we have to do instruction. Instruction is going to take care of what I expect. This is what I want you to do. This is why I want you to do it. This is what I expect you to do. Now I have to model for you what I'm teaching you. So when I've instructed you, when I've modeled for you, and then you don't do it, that's rebellion. The correction is to correct that rebellious spirit. Our parents did a good job with the correcting. They didn't do a real good job with the instructions of what to expect and the modeling. So what we have to do is that when you do all three, you affirm the value of your child. We wouldn't have some of the dysfunction that we have when we do the three, because now your child feels affirmation and value. So that's a whole workshop on its own. It's on parenting. But you brought up an issue, and because we didn't have but a few minutes, I didn't want you to go on because I wanted to take the time to do that. Did that help you, any brother?
Kind of, but you didn't get to the love part.
Yeah, yes, I did. See, I have to love you enough to correct you. So yeah, that's why I said this is a whole nother workshop. You see, what is love? Agape love is seeking the best good for the object of your affection in the spirit of sacrifice. I choose to help you understand. See, back in the days when my grandmother raised me, my grandmother, when she disciplined me, she cried. When she had to whip me, she cried because she could say, this hurts me more than it hurts you. Because the only reason I'm having to do this is because there is a value, there is a core value I've tried to teach. I'm having to whip you for taking that apple out of that store without paying for it. Whipping your behind is an act of love. Because I love you enough to correct you and make you go back to that store and give the man the money for it. You think love is cuddling you and showing you affection. That's only part of it. It's the core values that I have to teach you. Because that's the other problem. It's avoiding extremes. There are some parents don't do nothing but discipline. There are other parents don't do nothing but cuddle. They affect you. You think because you hugging your child and you love your child and you telling them that you love them and you giving them stuff when you ought to be giving them values. Love includes all three. That's why I say that's a whole nother workshop. Am I getting closer to what you're talking about? It's trying to weave the two. Okay. Now, go, since I have you, let him say what he need to say. I'm over time, but that's okay.
Oh no, it's just gonna be real quick. It's the part that I understand what you're saying about love as far as discipline, but all of the other stuff, like when kids do things good,
the affirmation part.
They should be rewarded for doing good things. Just like when they do things.
What would that look like? What would rewarded look like?
Okay, just say for example, when I had a quick story. Kids, when I moved up, I used to stay off Washington Street. The kids come home FDs. I see the report cards, so I told the kids I give them money if they bring home all A's. $3 for B's. Those kids was bringing home all A's. All of them, I had to chill out because it was costing me a lot. But what I'm saying is, the same way that we discipline our kids when they do things they don't supposed to do, we should reward them for doing things that they do. That's why a lot of kids today feel like, why should I do good? I don't get nothing out of it. But when you do bad, you get beat.
Okay, now I hear what you're saying. There's still you got to find balance. Because again, I'm giving A's, and the reason your children came home with A's is that they had the capacity to make A's.
They got rewarded those.
Right, yes, I understand that. Now listen to me. Let's do that other side. What about the child? See, it's one thing for that child who's doing C work who has the capacity to do A work. What about the child in your family who is only a C student? That's all he has. So I reward him not for doing the best. I reward him for doing his best. Because there are children. Now, let me tell you, 6 weeks ago, this is nothing but the Spirit. 6 weeks ago, there was a young man who is the child of a single parent. And she knows the only way he can go to college is going to be through an academic scholarship because he can't play ball. So she wants him to be an A student. Bring home A because that's the only way you're going to get in. And he is a junior high school getting ready to do calculus. And he is not good with math. But the pressure of trying to do the A, because she's rewarding him for bringing home the A's. But he got a C. And took a gun and blew his brains out because he didn't want to disappoint his mama. Now how you think the mama feels now? He leaves the note. I did the best I could. But he's dead. Too much pressure. That's the other side to that. You see my point? So what we have to do, you're raising a grade, we have to affirm, but we also have to understand in every house, you're not going to have all of your children to have the same intellectual capacity to be an A student. So I'm not trying to make you an A. I want you to do your best, not the best, because you may not have the bandwidth that your older brother had. So that's why we got to weave both. Thank you for bringing it up. Does that make sense? I mean, my God, to lose a child because he couldn't make an A? 1 week ago, no, it's 2 weeks now. Now this is Saturday. My eldest son is the personal evangelism minister at the Southern Hills Church, and he's a school teacher, reading specialist by profession, but his side business is he does work for a funeral home. He called me Friday, 2 weeks ago. He said, "Pops, we're having a funeral tomorrow. 16-year-old boy who committed suicide." And I was curious, why does a 16-year-old take his own life? And of course, Mr. Beckworth, the funeral director, dealing with the family and what have you. This boy was picked up. He's in college preparatory school, doing college, on his way to be a medical doctor. His daddy picks him up from school, goes into a convenience store, Target or something, come back out, and his boy was dead. He had gone under the seat of his daddy's car, who carried a pistol in his car, and he killed himself while his dad was in Target. And of course, he comes back, you know, he's devastated. They get his cell phone and discovers that some little girl that he had romantic affections for had texted him to say that she didn't feel the same way about him that he felt about her. That he had spent all of this time loving, affirming his child, rewarding him for being a good child, but did not give him the coping skills we're dealing with today. This is why I'm using this. To be able to deal with disappointment and rejection. His self-esteem was not strong enough to go. So what? If she don't like you, move on and find somebody who will. Straight A student in the category, but doesn't have coping skill to even deal with rejection. But he got plenty of love. It's not one or the other. It's all of it. Healthy things grow. Growing things change. Challenges force us to trust God. Trusting God leads to obedience. And obedience makes us healthy. And the cycle starts over again because healthy things grow. My time up?